Greetings, true believers, and welcome to another astonishing episode of History of the Marvel Universe. This week's tale begins at a high-tech facility known as the Beehive. This secret lab, hidden in a remote location, is where a group of scientists known as the Enclave had broken away from the rest of the scientific community to pursue a sinister plot. Their plan was to artificially engineer a genetically superior race of humans designed to take over the Earth under their control. However, their prototype was too powerful and forced the sinister scientists back with its immense power, keeping them from approaching with a blinding outburst of light. In order to get closer to their creation, one of the scientists, a man named Hamilton, enlisted the aid of a blind sculptor named Alicia Masters. Hamilton and his colleagues claimed that their motives were for the betterment of mankind, and convinced Miss Masters to help them by approaching the blindingly radiant being and then sculpting his visage for them. However, Alicia was dating Ben Grimm, aka the Thing of the world-famous Fantastic Four. After noticing that Masters was missing, Mr. Fantastic used one of his incredible devices to peer into the past and project an image of Alicia's abduction. By analyzing the device used by Hamilton to transport in and out of the apartment, Reed was able to duplicate the technology, giving the FF access to the Beehive. Meanwhile, as Alicia and Hamilton drew closer to their target, Hamilton panicked and began to open fire. While the other scientists still wanted to wrest back control of their creation, Hamilton feared it and wanted it destroyed. However, the unseen being used its psionic power to ensnare the mad scientist with tendrils emerging from the ground, leaving Alicia free to approach. Reaching her destination, Alicia found that the being was not yet fully formed and had enshrined himself within a cocoon. And so, as the Fantastic Four battled the Enclave, the cocoon began to hatch. As the fortress began to collapse from the releasing energies, Alicia and the heroes escaped. Then, the being known only as him emerged and completely destroyed the Beehive and his own creators, before taking to the stars. This new life form briefly wandered space before becoming entrapped in an energy field drawing in meteors. He wrapped himself in a new protective cocoon to defend himself from the rocky debris, the cause of which was an explorative exercise by the being known as Uatu, the Watcher. Having accidentally violated his oath not to interfere in the affairs of living creatures, Uatu attempted to correct this mistake by placing the cocoon on an American satellite so that him would be returned to Earth. Inevitably, the US government discovered the cocoon and locked it away for study. The villainous Pluto, Lord of the Underworld, learned of this and, perceiving him as a potential threat, sent the American Research Center into the future through a time funnel. Pluto sought to defeat his enemy Thor in a similar fashion, but the god of thunder, along with his fellow Asgardians, Sif and Balder, battled the Lord of Hades and his forces, and returned the research center to its proper place in time, before Zeus appeared and banished Pluto from the Earth once more. Then, as the Asgardian trio entered the building to investigate Pluto's fears, the cocoon hatched once more, and him appeared before them. Him found himself lonely, and decided at this point that he would like to take a mate. Unfortunately, he quickly had taken a liking to Thor's beloved Lady Sif, and abducted the Asgardian woman. Thor, of course, pursued his naive new enemy with great fury, and while Him was indeed a powerful opponent, Thor proved to be the stronger of the two. To escape his foe, Him again sealed himself in a cocoon and hurled himself into space once more. Drifting through the solar system, the cocoon was then discovered by a being known as the High Evolutionary. This man was a brilliant geneticist who used his technology to create a race of humanoid animals known as the New Men. However, one of his creations rebelled against him and became the villainous Man-Beast. After defeating the Man-Beast and his sinister followers for the first time, with the aid of the mighty Thor, the High Evolutionary banished the evil New Men to the stars. Then, he and his own Knights of Wundagore left the Earth as well. During his time in space, the High Evolutionary used his technology on himself, transforming himself into a theoretical endpoint of human evolution. In this state, he became one with the cosmos for a time, but later returned to his armor and his hidden space station, where he discovered and brought aboard the Wandering Cocoon. The High Evolutionary established contact with the being within the cocoon and learned his story. The man known only as him watched as his host began his next grand experiment, the creation of an exact duplicate of Earth, free of evil, orbiting the opposite side of the sun as the original. However, this task of creation was tiring, and the High Evolutionary passed out as Counter-Earth was being formed. The Man-Beast seized his opportunity to intervene, infecting the new Earth with the same evils that plagued the original, but with one significant difference. On Counter-Earth, there were no superpowers, no superheroes, or supervillains. The High Evolutionary awakened to find his old creation sabotaging the new, and so he attacked. During the conflict, Him emerged from his cocoon with a new look and helped drive back the Man-Beast and his evil New Men. His new world tainted, the High Evolutionary decided to terminate the experiment, and by extension, all life on Counter-Earth. The being known as Him interjected, asking the Evolutionary to spare this new life. In return, Him would go down to the planet and weed out the Man-Beast's evil. The High Evolutionary agreed and gave Him two gifts to aid him. The first was an extremely powerful artifact known as the Soul Gem, which the High Evolutionary placed on Him's forehead. The second was a name: Warlock. Although when he traveled down to Counter-Earth, the first humans he met felt that sounded more like a surname and began calling him Adam instead. During his time on Counter-Earth, Adam Warlock made friends, lost allies, and built up a following of humans and new men alike as he battled the evil forces of the Man-Beast, who successfully possessed Rex Carpenter, the President of the United States on Counter-Earth. Meanwhile, back on the original Earth, the superpowered race known as the Inhumans discovered the existence of Counter-Earth and planned to travel there in an attempt to leave behind the persecution they faced on their home planet. However, when the Incredible Hulk began a rampage in the Inhuman city of Atalan, the Inhumans had no choice but to use the ship they prepared for the journey to launch the Hulk away. The Hulk landed on Counter-Earth, and here he met and became allies with Adam Warlock, but not before the Man-Beast captured and planted a subdermal device on the Green Goliath while he was in the human form of Bruce Banner. And so, while the Hulk was enjoying a meal with Adam Warlock and his followers, the Man-Beast activated the device, causing the Hulk to go berserk again. In the confusion, the Man-Beast attacked and captured Adam Warlock, bringing him back to the Counter-Earth Washington for a public execution. Warlock, in order to survive, became wrapped in a cocoon once again, which the Hulk seized and escaped with. After reuniting with his new allies and placing the cocoon in a safe location, the Hulk returned with Warlock's forces and fought back against the evil New Men. The Green Goliath overpowered the Man-Beast, but before he finished his foe, Adam Warlock returned. Rather than kill his enemy, Warlock used his powers to revert the Man-Beast back to the form of a normal wolf, just as he was before the High Evolutionary's intervention. His task completed, Warlock took to the stars again, leaving Counter-Earth to continue his battles against evil and injustice. And that's the origin of Adam Warlock. Hey, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like, leave a comment, and share it on your favorite social media. As always, the issues referenced in this video are listed in the description below if you would like to read them for yourself, as well as links to my various social medias, including my Tumblr where I share cool Marvel art every day. So until next time, true believers, Excelsior!